5 ants rented an apartment with another 5 ants. Now they're tenants. Today, I'm going to recap a 2023 action crime film called The Channel. The film starts with a shootout between two sides, with one side using night vision glasses. They systematically take down their rivals. Then, the scene changes to a guy, James, with a mullet-like haircut, waking up from a long sleep. He says hello to his calm baby when the babysitter shows up and then welcomes her. After a while, James' buddies pick him up in a van that fits about 5 people. It seems like James and his group are planning a heist, holding various weapons and hiding their identities with masks. Once they get to the bank, Mike signals that it's go time for the heist. They quickly overpower some of the guards, and Mike frightens the people there by cutting off a guard's finger. This move gets them the vault code, allowing them to take the cash. James and his mates load up their bags with lots of money. Feeling that the coast is clear, they try to exit the bank. However, the cops are already there waiting. A shootout is inevitable because of the armed police ready to catch James and his gang. At this point, James's group is outnumbered, and they've even lost their getaway driver to a bullet. Now James and his gang are trying to escape the law. They're trapped as more police are coming. With only 4 of them left, they stand their ground against the police bullets. Although they seem well-trained, the police, guided by a tough leader, manage to take them down while they're moving the stolen cash. Jack from the gang decides to take the money back himself. James, on the other hand, tries to help his injured friend and grabs a car from a nearby house. The chase continues, with the police after James in his car. The gang manages to trick the police by switching to another vehicle, which works in their favor. Even though night falls, the police are still looking for them. Now, only 3 of the gang members remain, and 1 is injured. At this spot, they change outfits, switch cars again, and destroy their previous car. Later that night, Special Agent Frank Rose shows up. He's scolded by the higher-ups for being late and mentions he just got back from Washington. The officials tell Frank that he needs to catch these criminals quickly, since they've killed several officers. Another agent, called Giant, says they had to shoot because they couldn't reach Frank earlier. Noting one of the gang is badly hurt, Frank suggests they check all local medical places, as the injured criminal will likely seek help. Frank also learns one of the criminals, once called Fan, is actually from the Venturi family. He talks to a bank employee who witnessed the heist, hoping for clues. This employee mentions some of the gang might have had Brooklyn accents and could be from the city. As they wrap up, Frank gets a call from his son asking about his whereabouts. But Giant informs him about a burning car near the river, and Frank, along with another agent, Victor, goes to investigate. Meanwhile, James visits a guy named Billy. Billy is mad at James, accusing him of causing recent troubles, since Billy had talked to the cops. But as it turns out, James and another gang member, Mike, had actually approached Billy to help clean their stolen money, so it wouldn't raise suspicions. Later on, Ava, who's part of the gang, points fingers at Mike, known for his unstable tendencies, for the recent problems they faced. James and Mike decide to take Joan for some specialized treatment, since James only trusts her and wants her to be part of their team. The responsibility of cleaning the stolen money falls on Billy. Meanwhile, Frank shows up where the car was set ablaze, aiming to get leads on the criminals who once served in the military. He's impressed by their strategic planning and combat skills. He wonders if someone on the inside helped, especially since the targeted bank had just moved and had a hefty amount of money stored. Later, James safely gets Joan to her home for medical attention. But when Billy calls with an update on the money cleaning process, James steps away for a moment. Clearance mentions that the deal would be smoother if James gave up some of his money share, and James agrees. Simultaneously, Mike has a plan to offer Clearance a bribe, aiming for Joan to get less than stellar care, ensuring she doesn't slow down their plans. Reluctantly, James accepts the money, deeply concerned about Joan's well-being without proper medical attention. Mike then gets busy checking his weapon and counting their funds. Inside a car, Ava questions James about his return. James assures her he'll be back soon to get Ava and Joan, pondering on moving far away and starting fresh for a peaceful life with his loved ones. Ava is touched by this, but their moment is interrupted by the arrival of 2 vehicles. It's the people Billy reached out to, led by a guy named Breel. As the money handover happens, Mike realizes he's being shortchanged, leading to an argument. The situation escalates when Breel's crew threatens them with guns, but Mike, in a drastic move, shoots members of Breel's team, prompting James to act. Mike then speeds after a member of Breel's team trying to flee. They cross paths with the police once more, but this time they manage to slip away. Elsewhere, a member of Breel's team reports the situation to their leader, Nussy. Without hesitation, Nussy orders his crew to take action. At the same time, the FBI tries to extract information from a bank employee. Agent Frank feels the worker isn't being completely honest because the details he gives are too precise. Using his skills, Frank manages to make the employee spill the beans. The employee reveals details about the criminals. One is well-educated and has a tattoo of St. Jude on his neck, while the other is more aggressive and sports a Marine Corps tattoo with the words Samper 5 Series in red. Victor quickly contacts a source to get their identities and receives pictures of Mike and James. They learn that these men are actually Michael McSeries and Jimmy James Series, who are siblings. Frank and his team react swiftly. Victor remembers trying to nab them in the past. Further investigation shows the brothers once served in the military and deserted. Frank instructs Giant to release their names to the public. Meanwhile, James, Mike, and Ava reach Billy's place. Billy expresses his regret over the recent events, mentioning how people can be dangerous. James thinks Mike constantly chooses the violent path and acts like he's seeking death. Mike responds that he's fearless. James then sets a condition. If they get through the current mess, he's cutting ties with Mike. This triggers strong feelings in Mike, who reminds James of everything he's done for him and emphasizes his role as the elder sibling. Tensions rise when Mike suggests James has been brainwashed, leading James to attack Mike in anger. As this unfolds, one of Nussy's armed crew bursts in. Quickly, one of them kills Billy and captures James and his crew, exposing the brothers' identities. As a result, their faces are plastered in the news as wanted criminals. Giant recalls seeing Ava before, recognizing her as James's girlfriend. Additionally, an officer informs them that some of Nussy's crew and their associates have been taken out, a fact Agent Frank becomes aware of. Knowing Nussy's connection to money laundering, Frank associates Breel's demise with the actions of Mike and James. He quickly dives into probing Nussy's illegal operations. Meanwhile, as Nussy and his crew show up, Mike takes the blame for everything, hoping to calm Nussy down, but Nussy remains unaffected. Mike's anger flares up when Nussy threatens James, mentioning he has a large quantity of sulfuric acid to torture them with. The brutalities begin, with one individual facing the acid's wrath. Nussy aims to torment Mike first, with James being next on his list. Yet James is no pushover and quickly turns the tables. With some quick thinking, the duo manages to overpower and defeat Nussy and his crew, with James delivering the fatal blow to Nussy. As this happens, Frank and his team are narrowing in on the group's hideout. When James and Ava try to make their escape, they are interrupted by a police vehicle. Mike deals with the officers and urges James to make a run for it. As Frank, Giant, and Victor get to the scene, Mike finds himself in a tough spot. During a high-intensity chase, James sees his brother Mike take extreme measures, leading to mixed emotions. Even with past grievances, James acknowledges his brother's bravery. The confrontation intensifies, with Mike getting shot and his movements restricted. In a desperate move, Mike tries to take Victor as a hostage for leverage, but is unsuccessful. Agent Frank takes the decisive shot from afar, ending Mike's life. James and Ava manage to get on a bus. Staying true to his word, he tells her about their rendezvous point on a secluded island and urges her to leave ahead of him. Back at the crime scene, after a brief meeting with his squad, Frank realizes that James hasn't been confirmed dead. Giant finds a pendant in the acid residue, suggesting James might have met his end. However, Frank remains unconvinced. The next day, he arranges a meeting with Ava. During their conversation, Ava skillfully steers clear of any mention of James. Frank doesn't push her on it, but he does ask Victor to establish a care facility for Joan. Fast forward a few years, we see James leading a tranquil life on a remote island, reuniting with the frail Joan and Ava. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.